I am a huge Beyonce fan, and last year when the Renaissance tour happened, it was basically my mission to make it there. And spoiler alert, I did. But let's be real, I couldn't just leave it at that. I had to make something to commemorate the occasion, and ultimately, I landed on an idea I've been toying with for a while. I decided to make actual trading cards to give them away as mementos to like my friends and basically anyone else who was part of the hive. I just thought it would be cute, a cute little giveaway thing. So I'm a digital artist. Most of my work lives on screen, and I rarely ever get to see things come to be in a physical sense. So getting these printed and in hand actually taught me a lot of things about art that I didn't expect. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing some of the things I learned making these cards, as well as showing you the process of how I made them. So without further ado, let's do this. So one of the things that I learned, or I figured out doing these pieces, was how to take good shortcuts to save time on an illustration. I basically had to reduce, reuse, recycle wherever possible so that I save time having to think about or make a lot of choices regarding things like the framework. I basically used one frame for everything and had that frame be modular, so everything just kicks into place for the underlying image. I also had to do things like making use of simple color schemes or ones that I already know work well, so I didn't have to think too hard about my colors. Normally I do like 3 to 5 color studies to kind of settle on like, well, okay, now that looks good. For this, or for all of these, I basically just picked things that I knew would work already. For instance, I would use purples and yellows for the Queen Bee card because purple and yellow are opposite on the color wheel. I already know that they would work well together. Or using cool tones and warm tones next to each other for like the Blue Ivy card. Stuff like that to just kind of speed things along, because I already knew one of the main colors in the piece would have to be, for instance, in the Queen Bee card, I knew it had to be yellow because her costume is what it is. And so I just worked with things that fit that. The next thing that I learned, texture and visual elements are a girl's best friend. Okay, listen, I don't really like drawing backgrounds. I know a lot of us don't. I mean, sometimes they're necessary. It depends what you need for the illustration. But in general, if I can get away with not having one, I kind of want to get away with not having one. And in this case, if I were to have a really elaborate Magic the Gathering type of background in here, it would take me 500 years to finish, and we don't got that kind of time. Okay, so I had to figure out ways to make the background look interesting without actually having anything there. So I used a lot of things like noise texture in the background, so it breaks up the monotony of just like one sheet of color because it has a little texture in it. There's also something to the visual elements like speed lines or sparkles, because they add a little dynamicness to the piece. It would look boring otherwise, and it helps move your eye back to the main event, or it keeps your eyes contained in a shape that frames the main event. Like with the Beyonce card, I pretty much have like sparkles and like bright light beams, and they all basically lead back to the Beyonce in the middle. So it keeps it interesting, but also keeps your eye locked in on the actual thing that I want you to look at. You don't need to be looking at the background. Beyonce's right here. Look right here where the sparkles are. Pretty. In the Blue Ivy card in particular, I basically added like a smoky background by just using different lighter colors basically on the dark background to kind of give the idea of like hazy bright lights on a stage. It adds a little dimension to the darkness. It allows your brain to fill in the gaps so you believe there's more happening in the background than there necessarily is, because you're thinking to yourself, dark stage, bright lights, you wouldn't really see anything, right? So stuff like that can really kind of, as my painting teacher in college would say, lie to tell the truth. So things like that would really add to the idea of there being more on stage than there necessarily is. And so I come to my final point, or my final thought about things that I discovered making these cards. And that, hold my hand, we're gonna get a little cheesy. To quote Madonna, music, or in this case art, makes the people come together. Okay? Usually there's a disconnect between when I finish my work and when people receive it. My work lives digitally for the most part, and even though I've had things physically printed, like I've worked on books and things like that before, I don't have the experience of seeing someone open my book for the first time. So printing out these cards and seeing the direct impact of someone viewing my work was so gratifying. It was just really cool. A lot of times, and I'm assuming you're going to be able to relate, because I'm assuming if you're watching this, you're probably an artist as well, or someone in the creative field. But a lot of the times, my work lives in my head. I'm in my mind with this, okay? And I see all the ways that it's imperfect, or all the ways that I had to like hack things basically to get the entire structure to come together. And I see a lot of the imperfections in my art when I publish it or when I post it, where I'm like, oh, I could have done that better. And it's refreshing and very freeing to actually experience someone else seeing it for the first time, because they are not looking at it with those hypercritical eyes that I do. And having that be a part of like someone's concert experience was really just, I don't know, just validating, joyful, exciting. A lot of words. I'm going to read a thesaurus later and come up with a couple more. Also, handing out these cards to people, I got to meet a lot of new people and share stories with them, which was really fun. I've met people who it was their birthday that day and they thought it was so special to be able to get a memento of visiting going to the show for their birthday, and then also getting this card, which it's a rare limited edition, okay? So nobody else gonna have this. But I just thought it was really nice the way that just handing someone my card introduced me to like several new people. I got hugs from people. I made internet friends doing this. I had made concert friends doing this. And I just thought that was, as a social person, I just thought that was really an exciting part of my Beyonce experience, to be able to do that for other people and to receive a small token of friendship in return. I just thought that was nice. If nothing else, it taught me that sometimes you have to experience your own work outside the confines of your own head to really appreciate what you did. Because I think I appreciate these pieces on a different level than I do with any other work that I've done, just by nature of printing it and sharing it with other people. This card was, or these cards rather, were a learning experience in ways that I didn't expect. I am so glad that I had the chance to share these with fellow Beehive members, stans, loyal stans, ride or die. That was a little Beyonce reference for the girls that get it. I especially loved the reaction I got to it. I did make a part 1 to this video where I paint the first 2 cards in the series and kind of talk through my references and initial decision making when it came to making these cards. So feel free to check out that video and other videos on my channel where I talk about art and my experiences making things. New videos drop every other week, but until then, I'm Momo and I'll catch you on the internet sometime. Bye!